from Studio 13 in California, you're listening to Wildcard with your hosts, John.
Yes, because a deaf person couldn't hear a narrator. You moron.
And Conor.
IPA is different from a real beer. IPA is disgusting dirt cheap.
Now, here's the Kirkland signature of podcasting.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Wildcard. We start things off today by letting the trolls take over. We spend time reading the absolute worst things that you have to say on iTunes about us. We wash that down with a little reminiscing about high school and the rite of passage that is overdosing on Jagermeister. You did it, and you've never been able to eat black licorice ever since. From there, we move on to the world of blind porn. Yes, this is actually a thing, and I'm thoroughly convinced that this is the worst aspect about being blind. Think of it like this. Your Uncle Vito from Long Island found your grandmother's romance novel, and he's slowly reading it aloud to you. We keep it pretty PG for our own sake, but the creep factor is definitely turned up to 11. We talk a little bit more about YouTube, how much money those people we talk about in previous episodes actually make, and then we venture into the world of politics, a place where Conor makes probably no money, and his recent win as part of the team for the mayor of San Francisco, London Breed. So get your voter registration ready and pray you don't go blind for this episode of Wildcard. Conor, you seem to have a chronic late condition.
Just take the time that I say I'm going to be there and add an hour, and then I'm on time.
The worst thing is I got really annoyed while I was sitting here waiting for you, and I started Googling like personality traits of people that are chronically late. And there's like this thing now with articles where there's always an article that's pro something that's really bad.
Right.
So it was like people who are chronically late are more creative and simply don't keep track of time. And
I've actually seen that article that you're talking about, and it's like people who are late are smarter. And I read that and I was like, thank you, internet. Thank you for understanding.
How being poor is actually extra attractive to the opposite sex. It's like, I'm pretty sure you can't sell that. So anyway, thank you for finally being here. In addition to being late today, you actually entirely missed an episode that we recorded that's going to be coming out, I think, next week with a multi-Emmy winning producer, director, etc. So thanks for that.
Has he won Emmys?
Yes, multiple Emmys.
Shit, I should have been here.
Anyway, it was a really, really interesting interview. I'm sorry you missed it, but you missed it because I think there's I'll call it semi-valid excuse for missing it.
I would call it super valid, but go ahead.
A lot of folks, I don't think, realize that you've been in politics for a long time. And recently we had the mayoral, I always have trouble with that word, mayoral race in San Francisco.
You're actually still having trouble with that
How
word.
does one say it?
Mayoral? There's no I. It's not mayorally. It's not like the Memorial Day parade.
I'm not going to attempt to say it again. So there's that race.
Yes, that.
And originally I gave you a pass for missing the episode because I thought you had lost.
Yeah, so did we.
And there was bitterness.
Yeah.
There was some pouting, some tantrum. I would compare it to something my 3-year-old would do.
Tremendous amount of pouting. Yeah.
So I even told Bill in the interview that I gave you that the reason my co-host was not on the show was because he lost a mayoral election the night before. And he said, oh, that's really sad. And these things can feed into gubernatorial races.
Can you do presidential?
Presidential.
There
that
you
I
go.
can do.
Stick with that one.
Okay. Which can lead to
gubernatorial.
congressional.
Congressional.
Yes. So he was pretty bummed for you, but then...
I appreciate that guy whose interview I missed.
Then weeks go by, and you've actually won.
Yeah.
So
just to be clear, I did not win the mayoral. I was not the actual candidate. No.
Okay. Anyway, I want to get into that because
I lurk in the background.
I think that's really interesting, and I hate all things politics, so it's not something I would go into, but I want to learn more about that. Before we get into talking about your life in politics, I want to talk. I need like a horn, like a really excited. Well, we've got the applause.
Woo!
Whoop whoop.
What are we whooping?
Our show
a whoop and a ding. That was a twofer.
Our show is, dare I say, lit.
That means good, right?
We are crushing it. It has been. We've launched less than a month ago on iTunes with Wildcard, and we are already in the top 20% of podcasts.
I think that sound effect just bumped us back down to the bottom 20.
Damn it.
Yeah.
No, it's been really, really strong. I'm amazed at how well the show has been received. And in fact, the episode that far and away has the most downloads is our episode with Captain Phil, who I think gave a fantastic interview. 6:30 this morning, I get a text from Captain Phil. It says, "Hey man, one of my Marines just texted me out of the blue last night and said he heard a podcast with me on it.
No
He thought it
way.
was good shit. He's looking forward to the next one."
No way.
I don't know how many Marines Phil has, but hey, I'm proud of that
Phil
one.
has a lot of Marines because Phil's a badass, but
That's
still,
true.
that's pretty cool.
I thought that was damn cool. I don't have another way to say it. I just thought that was really, really cool. The show is growing. I told Phil to have that guy tell all his friends. Is there a worse response? And again, I will do this really lame kind of public service announcement, which is tell your friends. Learn about the show. This is how we get out there.
I don't actually have friends.
Along with the success that the show is having, Conor pointed out that we will start to get negative comments, which is really like a badge of honor.
Oh, yeah.
And there were some fantastic ones, and may I say, not ill-placed.
No, I mean, they were spot on. They were spot on. I feel like if you have internet haters, you're doing something right. And we have a lot.
This one, terrible podcast, don't waste your time. These two goobers couldn't finish a sentence.
You know what's funny is we both have access to the Facebook admin, and so I go on there as Wildcard, and I like those comments.
Found this podcast a bit dull. Wasn't much in the way of entertainment. Terrible.
I liked the one, you might actually have it up. I like the one that was like, "Will these two shut up? I get that you're gay. Stop rubbing it in my face." And I was like, technically only one of them are.
I think Bill might have the best comment of all. This podcast, fucking stupid.
Bill? That sounds like something my dad would say.
Very likely. So if you have horrible things to say about us or are just tired of Conor being gay, I invite you to come to our Facebook page. It is Wildcard Podcast. You can comment there. Tell us how mediocre we are.
What's our website name?
Our website is wildcardshow.com.
Oh, we did actually get .com.
Yes.
I thought you got like .earth. Like we had to spring for .biz.
And then we've also got the Instagrams.
We're on the Instagrams?
We're on the Instagrams.
Can we
and
just put pictures of my abs up there? Because they're looking pretty good.
It's wildcard_podcast.
Abs.
Yeah, let's talk about the abs. We are rapidly approaching Gay Pride.
Yes.
And you have as we talked about with Sal, which is a fantastic episode. I loved that episode. And we talked about you being float ready.
Yes.
Which we commented was the single gayest thing you could get in shape for.
Well, I mean, yes. Yes.
Both literally and figuratively.
Yes.
As you've aged, as I can include myself in this, the weight does not come off. It tends to just go on. It doesn't come off as easily.
It fights you hard.
You were sporting, dare I say, a solid dad bod with a sprinkling of full body psoriasis,
Yes.
which is a look.
Yeah.
How are we doing? What did we do diet-wise? And you do look a little pale. Maybe you're in the second of 3 stages of decay.
Yeah.
Where are we?
I'm pretty sure my kidneys are shutting down at this point. So what I did, which it's kind of like this diet secret that I learned from Oprah.
Oprah is one person I would probably not take diet advice from.
Fair enough. Well, let's go with Dr. Oz then. So my diet secret is don't eat ever. Just stop eating. I have found that if you just stop eating, you will actually lose weight. So I've been doing that for going on like a month now, and I'm probably down like 15 pounds since we last recorded, which wasn't that long ago.
I think you had 12 to lose, so
Something
you're
like that.
you're well in the green.
I've gone
or
over
the black.
Yeah, whatever it is, I don't. All I know is that I am doing my best to stay awake while we film this, and then I think I'm gonna go have like a lemon slice and take a nap.
Are you doing a cleanse? Did you stop eating entirely? What did we do to make?
I cut
this
down to 500
transformation?
calories a day. So it's a protein bar at some point in the morning, and then I was doing like a can of Progresso soup. But I had to stop that because the sodium makes you retain water and you got to cut water. So now it's just like a protein bar and a bunch of coffee because it's a diuretic.
So do you do this because the gays really like fitness, or do you do this because you're like an Instagram skank and you just desperately crave the attention?
All of the above. All of those are accurate. I mean, clearly it's mostly vanity, but it's also every year, I'm 36 now, and every year it's like, can I still pull this off? Is this the year where I'm too old to do it? And I'm chasing that rainbow. I don't. That was kind of a pun, I guess. But I keep wanting to be able to prove that I can still do it, and it's miserable every year. It's miserable, but I love having the pictures. There was one from a couple years ago. I wore these pink short shorts, and I'm up on the float, and I've got the abs and everything. And somebody took this really cool picture, and you photoshopped it into a gay cigarette ad. Do you remember that one? It was like
Newport Pleasure or something like that.
It was like Newport Slims. If you like cigarettes and you're gay.
The happiest anyone ever looks is in a Newport cigarette commercial or a tampon commercial.
Are people happy in tampon ads?
It's like you've got someone who can't surf, play tennis, or wakeboard. They pop in a tampon, and all of a sudden they're like a mini adventurer.
Do you ever see the ads for like Michelob 64?
Yes.
You know, the beer that's like has basically no alcohol and basically no calories, and the ads are like it's some jerk off in a fitted suit, and he's going to his middle management job up on the 9th floor, and then he goes out to play racquetball, and then he meets his 30-something friends at the club, and he has a Michelob Ultra. And I watch these ads, and it's so depressing because I realize that is me. I never feel like I fit in ever, except when I watch a Michelob Ultra ad, and that's not a good thing. I don't want to fit in there.
It's so funny because our society values vanity, attractiveness, staying in shape, but anything you do to stay in shape is frowned upon.
Yeah.
So it's like if you were to actually order a Michelob Ultra when you're out and about, your friends would look at you like you're a huge D-bag.
As would the bartender.
Yes.
And everyone else around, and rightfully so.
Actually, is it as frowned upon in the gay community to order a Michelob Ultra as it is in the straight community? Because if I went on a first date and ordered a Michelob Ultra, I think she would just leave.
Yeah, she probably would. It is not as frowned upon. In fact, at gay bars, there are a lot of people drinking vodka sodas for that reason. It's just like all of the punch, none of the calories. I can't do it. To me, it's just that at that point, I'd rather just have like a cup of vodka. I mean, it was basically a martini, I guess. But yeah, I think you could get away with that.
I have found that I enjoy the beer at the end of the day. Maybe because of editing podcasts and listening to our drivel is mental torture. And at the end of the day, I have to unwind with beer. And I have found that has added a nice solid 10 pounds to me that has been more difficult than usual to take off.
Yeah, well, if you keep drinking the beers, it's going to be hard. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I need to bite the bullet and switch to the Michelob Ultra 64s. But they have no fun because the whole fucking point is the alcohol.
Right. Yeah.
And if you take the alcohol out, yes, you take out the calories, but you also take out the whole reason I drink. Right. No one likes the taste of beer. I mean, I do, but it's like you like it because of habit and you like it because of what it does to you. And then you do genuinely get a taste for it. But if someone were to give you, say, a Shirley Temple, let's say you met an Indian that lived in the Amazonian rainforest and never had anything, and you give them a Shirley Temple and an IPA. Which do you think they would find more delightful?
So this is a different comparison because an IPA is different from a real beer. IPA is disgusting dirt juice, and the only reason people drink it is because you're obligated to drink IPA now and pretend like you like it. But that shit is disgusting.
I actually fully agree. You are correct.
Yeah.
The only reason people drink the hoppiest of hoppy IPAs is because they think it makes them look. It's beer snobbery. It's, I know 6 microbrews that you don't know.
Right.
And so I'm going to order the, Hop Father 739.
Right.
And you order your played out Fat Tire.
Played out Fat Tire. So it's become like this arms race with IPAs where it's like,
yes.
Oh, I've got the triple rainboat IPA and I've got the quadruple spare tire IPA. And it's just like, can I just have a beer? What's wrong with you assholes?
IPAs and razor blades follow the same maturation process.
Yeah.
back in the 90s, you had a fucking razor blade that shaved your face.
Yeah.
And it did a perfectly good job. And then you had 2. And then you went to Mach 3, and all of a sudden it became the fighter jets of razor blades.
Right.
And I don't even know what they're up to. The octopus, like the Gillette
it's at like
octopus.
7.
Effing scumbags that want to make money off you, they make all their money on the back end, on the blades, not the actual stick that holds it.
Right.
But getting back to alcohol, I think it's interesting how tastes change over the years, how you can have alcohols that are specifically intended for children. What were the big ones when we were in high school? We had the Boone's Farms.
Strawberry Boone's Farm.
The St. Ides.
Yeah, St. Ides. And then Jack Daniels came out with a thing that was just like soda. It was like Strawberry Jack or something.
It was hard. Isn't it hard something?
Something like
Don't
that.
They make things hard, and once something's hard, it's got booze in it?
Yes.
You got hard lemonade, hard apple juice.
Smirnoff Ice was the other one.
Yes.
It had like...
And Zima. Zima was a touch before our time.
Zima was quite a bit before our time, but super rad. And I think you can actually still find it. But no, Smirnoff
Jagermeister.
Ice... That stuff is so gross. And I'm ashamed to say that I used to think it was cool.
Does everyone have an experience with Jagermeister where, kind of like tequila, but I love tequila, where they just go on a high school bender of Jagermeister and then they can never touch the stuff again?
Yeah.
And you see this in young people. Like, you see someone in a convenience store buying Jaeger, and like Obi-Wan Kenobi, you want to take them aside and say, "My friend, I have seen your future. It involves bad decisions, vomiting, making out with unattractive people, and then more vomiting. Put the Jagermeister back. You want clear liquor. Stay clear." Oh, man. And then the stuff you do in high school with the drinking. I remember witnessing... I was on a boat, and they had been drinking the Jagermeister. They were making out, and then she leaned over the side of the boat and proceeded to throw up what looked like a solid gallon of pink vomit because we had barbecued salmon for dinner. And then proceeded to go back to making out.
Right back
like
into
that
it.
is a high school move. Right back into the making
That's
out.
solid. Good for both of them.
Salmon, Jagermeister, and stomach bile. That is a cocktail that only the hormones of a 16-year-old high school kid could overtake.
And the funny thing is, they probably didn't even think twice about it. They were just like, why wouldn't we go back to making out?
But no, I fully agree on the IPA thing, and I guarantee we'll get a ton of hate mail and maybe more angry Facebook comments about the IPA. I actually like IPAs. I'm not a beer snob. I actually like them, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. You hate them.
No.
You're self-loathing.
I stand by my position 100% and let the internet haters come at me because you don't like it. I know that you don't like it. You are drinking it to prove that you can and tolerate it. That's what it is. It's like, I'm man enough to tolerate this thing that tastes like a dirty boot.
Yes.
Like somebody bottled old man's underwear, and I am so hip with my beard and my, what else do people who drink IPA have?
A key to their parents' basement.
Key to their parents' basement.
Patagonia hat.
Yes, and like a bank account.
A fixed gear bicycle.
Yeah, they got that. I feel like you're doing better at this than me. But either way, I hate them.
They are hate-worthy. Outside of ordering Michelob Ultras, what is going on in the world of Conor these days?
You watch Netflix, right?
I do.
And I assume you're bootlegging it from somebody else's account. Actually, no. There are two types of people in the world. And I said this to you years ago. We used to work together at the same company, and I said to John, there are people who buy pens, and there are people who steal the pens from the first group of people. And you were the buy pen type, and I am clearly the steal the pen type. Same thing with Netflix. Like, there are people who have Netflix accounts, and then there are 10x the number of people who just steal the first group's Netflix password.
I own the Netflix account and probably have 5 to 7 parasitic.
Yes. Do you ever log on and it's like there are too many people watching your Netflix account? And you're
No,
like,
I
damn
haven't.
it!
I haven't had
I
that
am
happen.
patient zero. I am the one who pays the bill, and I can't get on right now because these deadbeats are watching my account. So I was watching The Punisher. You know, they did a series, a mini series of The Punisher, and it's the dude John Bernthal who was on Walking Dead back like in season 0 before it got to 9 million. The guy's awesome. So he plays The Punisher, and I got to like episode 6, and somebody else must have been watching my Netflix account and futzed with the settings, unbeknownst to me. So I start watching this episode, and I get like 20 minutes in, and I'm like, why does this show all of a sudden have a narrator? And why is the narrator just describing what's happening on the screen? It was like, John picks up his drink. He takes a sip. He turns to look at the door.
Do you have a deaf person who has hacked your account?
So I get all the way through the end of the episode, and I'm like, that was kind of a weird episode. Like, why was there just a narrator, and why was it just describing what I could clearly see? And so then I go to watch something else, and the same thing is happening. The same narrator is there, and I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right. And I go into the settings, and somebody had set it. They have a blind setting for blind people. It describes what's happening. I am so stupid. I got through an hour and a half of Netflix without realizing that's what it was.
Oh,
I thought it was a narrator. I'm so stupid. I'm like, I got to the end. I'm like, well, the good news is you can see. The bad news is you're dumb as shit.
This reminds me, I heard something on this. They have people that do this. It's kind of like the Persons with Disabilities Act, where there are government agencies that will translate every piece of media on our tax dollar into hearing impaired media, and they do it with porn.
No.
And yes,
what?
you can look this up. They describe someone's job is to describe what is happening in the porn. I feel like I do not believe to hear this.
I do not believe that is a government position.
I'm looking right now. I believe there is voiceover porn.
I don't believe that. But speaking,
I'm doing this. Hearing impaired porn.
I love your search history.
Hearing impaired porn on Pornhub.
No way.
All right, let's try this.
I'm doing fine.
I'm Shannon from Home Health. I'm here to give you a physical.
Okay.
Oh, this is just disturbing.
No,
it's just someone having sex with a person who's special needs. Okay, that's weird. No, I thought this was supposed to be hearing impaired.
What is it exactly that you think this is going to be?
I've heard this somewhere before. It's like girl enters room, boy stands there.
Okay, so that would be visually
genitals.
impaired. Why would a deaf person need a description of what's going on? I'm sitting here like, what is he getting at? Where is this going?
Oh, I have all of my disabilities screwed up. Yes, now that you bring this up, why would a deaf person have trouble watching regular porn? I am out.
Somebody has to narrate.
I am out.
Happening.
Yes, because a deaf person couldn't hear a narrator. You moron. Holy shit.
This is not coming across on the microphone, but John's face is super red right now. For those of you who can't hear, let me just describe what's going on visually.
I am officially...
John's face is super red.
I'm officially a moron.
My favorite part is that we got on this topic because I was telling a story about how stupid I was, and you just totally outdid yourself.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that is next level.
We spent like 5 minutes. I'm sitting here like, what is he?
I'm like, I know I've heard this.
What is he? No,
I've heard this.
You've seen it.
Hearing impaired porn. And the funny thing is there's a ton of results for hearing impaired porn, but it's people sleeping with the hearing impaired. It's like a fetish, which is weird.
Which, whatever, if you're into that.
Why does someone's ability to hear make them sexy?
Well, whatever. Whatever floats your boat. People are into some weird shit. That's not even level 2. But it reminds me of our buddy Hively. He and I were crossing the street once, and he's like, "Why do the crosswalks have that beeping sound? Is that for the deaf people?" No, Brad, I don't think that would help them.
Okay. Pornhub now offers porn for the visually impaired.
Okay,
I may have found something.
Seat, and the camera zooms in to more closely capture her breasts hanging down, the left slightly spilling out of her low-cut lime green tank top. She moans, and the man, not hearing her, mentions something about faulty wiring.
Unfortunately, the blind have to suffer through the terrible plot as well. Geez, this drain is so plugged, I can't unplug it myself. I could really use a pizza.
Still picture of a lime green minivan glides across a white background.
I don't know about you, but this is working for me.
I am.
Could you maybe find some people that have a touch more personality and maybe more sex appeal than the United Airlines lost baggage operator. I have your pizza, ma'am. Are you ready for my large delivery?
The woman is now standing alongside a private swimming pool, completely naked. The camera is slightly below her bust, and we view her at a 3/4 angle. She hops up and down, seemingly in slow motion. The man, off-screen, asks her if this is an early tip.
We have to visually build
The moment.
what the United Airlines lost baggage guy is saying.
So the man has just pulled up in his green minivan and has fixed the cable for the nice woman who is sunbathing by the pool naked.
Yes, I think we've established that there is someone sunbathing by a pool who has faulty wiring and is in need of service from a man in a lime green van.
Correct.
And she lets out a knowing, deviant chuckle. The man appears behind her, also naked, and reaches
How did he
around.
get naked all of a sudden?
Okay, how did the wiring guy get naked so fast?
It's like there's just nothing under those overalls. Also, if you've been running wire all day, like, you should shower before you get in the pool.
He asks her if she is doing this so she does not have to make a car repair payment. They both bend forward slightly, and while he is mostly obscured by her and the close-up of her breasts, we can see that he is running his hand.
I'm hearing typing in the background. I feel like this guy is also one of those, like, when you're trying to get your washing machine fixed and it's like, chat with us now. And so he's VOing the porn, and his other job is customer assurance for Whirlpool.
They start heading into the house. She tosses him a question, confirming that he is willing to have sex with her.
Man, the English language, the only way voiceover porn could be worse is if it was in German. Yes.
Or Russian.
Yes. Two of the least sexy. I feel like voiceover porn in Italian would actually probably be better than the real thing.
The cable man, take off the overalls. It just sounds good.
It's not Super Mario porn. Hey, Luigi. If you had like German voiceover porn, it would be terrible. It would be so like analytical and grunty. I need a German accent here. Say something in German.
He puts his Spitzenwandfitzel in the Stupenhafen.
Okay, that's now made it worse. Okay, this is probably going to be very offensive to any of our German listeners. Fräulein, now is advisable time for me to make sex und your body for purposes of fornication. Why can't I do German?
I'm not even sure what that was. Like Count Chocula. You are German. You should be able to do a German accent.
Usually I can do German. I think the mic is screwing me up here. I am fixing wiring.
I think you should quit while you're ahead.
I und fix wiring and I und lay pipe.
I actually think Russian and German are two of my favorite languages because they just, like, someone says something to you in that language, you're going to do what they say. I guess it makes sense that they have such a history of fascism. I mean, they're just intense sounding languages.
Yes, but there are times where that intensity is awkward.
Super awkward.
Imagine you're lying in bed trying to be romantic with someone and you want to say like you have beautiful eyes. It's like Achtung, Fein, Warmut, and everything they say sounds like Hitler rallying the troops. Oh, okay.
Out and the familiar big sausage pizza logo covers the woman's face.
Who doesn't love the familiar big sausage pizza?
Leaving no joke unturned in the porn. Yeah. It's not just the cliched pizza delivery guy, but he's from Big Sausage Pizza.
Young people, I'd say they're late teens, early 20s.
Scottish voiceover.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
I was trying to put a finger on that.
Oh my gosh. Oi, I've got me boner.
Okay.
Attractive.
That was, your accents are so bad, they're culturally offensive. I am offended. On behalf of Scotland, I am offended.
Oi, I want to do sex with you.
Stop.
Really? You're not getting Colin Farrell with that?
He's not even Scottish. He's Irish, you idiot.
I've got me boner. That's like Ringo. So I'm sitting here, I've got me boner.
That was Sean Connery, I think.
And they're in what looks like some derelict building, and they're all naked, and there's one man sitting on a blue sofa type thing, And
A blue
there's
sofa
4
type
boys
thing.
around him and one woman who looks,
This is your kind of video. 4 boys around him and 1 woman.
I perked up.
who actually looks quite pregnant.
She looks quite pregnant.
Here's where even if I'm visually impaired, I'm out.
One woman that looks pregnant, and there's 4 boys, and there's the boy sitting on the blue sofa thing, and the base.
Very, very eloquent. There's the boy sitting on a blue sofa
blue
thing.
sofa thing.
Blue sofa thing.
In the derelict building.
You got a pregnant bird and another bloke favoriously masturbating in the corner, tugging on his knob.
The basic premise of the video is the 4 boys are trying to make the other boy that's sitting on the blue sofa, as they keep saying, bust a nut.
I've got me boner. I've got to bust a nut. Okay, I think I've heard enough visually impaired
we've
porn
gone
for one
far
day.
enough down this rabbit hole.
I did not know we were going to. Anyway, so
I didn't believe that existed, so you have taught me something.
yes,
I'm not sure I wanted to know it, but I know it now.
yes.
That's kind of like the motto for our show. We will teach you things you can't unlearn.
Oh, okay. Moving on. So a few episodes ago, we talked a lot about the Jake Paul.
Yeah, the
and-
Donkey Kid.
Yes, Donkey Kid
Yeah.
and the Logan Paul. When I was listening to it back at one point, I was laughing because your description of a 12-year-old that suddenly got big and also retained some donkey features.
Yes.
Was a shockingly accurate description
Yeah,
of
no,
what he
that
looks like.
that kid should spend some of his millions of dollars doing a 23andMe to see, like, you have 7% donkey.
So I had a friend after listen to the episode, and it's actually kind of cool now when we put out episodes. I get kind of this flood of texts over the next few days as people listen with their commentary and so on.
Wow.
And so I got a text. He goes, "You know that Paul guy's not that. I don't think he actually makes that much money."
Yeah, I was wondering, because you were saying, oh, he's rolling in the millions. And so I got really kind of into this because it kind of shattered my worldview to realize that Donkey Kid was like rich and famous. And so I started reading articles about him. I sent you a couple. There was one that said Team 10, because you know in It's Everyday Bro, he talks about Team 10. Apparently Team 10 is in disarray. Like, they're revolting against the leader, Donkey Kid, and the other YouTubers are going off to create their own, like, Team 11.
It's like a big douchey telenovela.
I was going to send you a picture yesterday because this car drove by me, and it had a personalized plate that said Team 10 SF.
No.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, are they franchising? I want to get in on this.
It sucked me into this world. And no, I will not become a subscriber and a fan because these videos are unwatchable. But it does, the whole industry fascinates me. And so I tried to look up what the Jake Paul makes. And I was correct. The man is loaded. I found an article here. It's the top YouTube earners from last year. Mm-hmm. So shockingly, Jake Paul, which is the one I know of, took in $11.5 million last year.
No.
But keep in mind, too, this is $11.5 million just off of his YouTube payout. This doesn't include royalties from It's Everyday Bro.
That's gone triple platinum.
It doesn't include royalties from his merch.
So much merch.
He's got other crap. So, I mean, all in, the guy probably did 15 to 20 million bucks.
No way.
But eclipsed by brother Logan Paul.
No way, really?
Who brought in $12.5 million.
Wow.
And then you add on to that the sponsor gigs and so on.
What would you say is the distinction between the Paul brothers?
One is named Jake and one is named Logan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And one is slightly more equine.
He does have more of an equine thing. Yeah, the older brother's more donkey. The younger one's more horsey.
This guy, yeah. This guy is more, he looks like he could actually be in a video where a horse transformed into a human.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one is very donkey.
Yeah.
It's very mule.
They definitely both have some Minotaur genes. Wait, which was the one that was a horse and a man? I think a Minotaur was a bull. Either way, yeah, they're making way more money than us, and I don't like myself anymore.
So I looked at the list of the top 10 YouTube earners.
Yeah.
You've got...
So the Paul brothers are actually 7 and what was that, 6?
Okay, so Jake Paul is the 7th. There's a couple things on here. Some, it's not for me. It's unwatchable. Some
Why is
will
that
make you...
5-year-old kid making $11 million?
Yesterday, I asked my daughter what she's watching. I'm watching Ryan Toy Review. So this guy...
Guy, when you say guy, he's 5.
Yeah, 5 or 6. His name is Ryan something. His actual name is kept a secret because he's private.
Right.
You can't hate on the kid. I mean, he's cute. I like children unlike you. it really just falls into the category of why did I not think of whoring out my child like this? Because the kid made $11 million last year. There isn't a whole lot here that's interesting to watch. Basically, what the kid does is he unboxes. It's a toy review and an unboxing. So he will get a toy and he will describe it for the kids. He will unbox it, play with it, and he makes about 10 to 12 million bucks a year doing this.
What's wrong with the world?
I'll give a pass to this one. He's a kid. The show is targeted at like really little kids. Really little kids like stuff that sucks. So I'm going to give a pass to this, but it's the other ones I won't give a pass to. The next in line is, you may have actually heard of this guy. His name is PewDiePie. Well, so let that sink in for a moment.
I've heard of him because in It's Everyday Bro, Jake Paul says that he's coming for him. Yeah, 10
what
million.
What do they call that? Is that a call out or
a shout? No, it's like a
diss. It's a diss.
Is
a diss track.
Is that
called
what,
a diss
track? Yes.
Yep.
But he says he's like with the Disney Channel flow, 10 million on YouTube, never done before. Cutie pie, I'm coming for yo.
Yes.
I'm not quite the lyricist that Jake Paul is, but you get the gist.
I have two things here. One, you get to choose your own name. You're really going with PewDiePie.
I think it's Q.
No, it's Pew. PEWDIE. PIE. PewDiePie.
It is.
When I was growing up, diss tracks were Tupac versus Biggie.
Yes.
Now that's a diss track.
Yeah.
And they shot each other.
Yes.
So they're legit. These D-bags do it on YouTube. See how much of PewDiePie you can get through. Now, keep in mind, he has 63 million YouTube subscribers.
No. That's like 5x Jake Paul.
Leave your entries in the comments.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Surprised you, didn't I?
It's still playing.
Welcome to Hawaii.
I thought you paused it.
No.
That was part of the video?
Leave your...
The show is called Hawaii, which is, I had to look this up. Last week, I asked Hughes. It's an acronym.
Okay.
He looks like, the best way to describe it is if a vegan fucked some sort of rodent.
He definitely looks like he drives a green minivan.
Welcome, everybody, to Hawaii.
That's really the man's
favorite
voice.
Show, and yours too, I hope.
That's really him. And again, I go back to, I think my description of some sort of rodent-like creature screwed a vegan from Portland.
Yeah, it looks like
the progeny.
It looks like a capybara mated with a hippie,
which is the largest land-going rodent.
Yes.
Hope, of course. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Don't you just hate when people ask you to subscribe when literally it's just been 15 seconds of the video?
Is he gonna talk like that the whole time?
How shameless can you possibly be? Anyway, have I told you about my chair? It's a great price. It's only $3.99.
That's not a joke. He's actually selling his shitty chair.
Free shipping if you are in Canada.
The link is right there. Clutch chairs.
My Canadian
We should buy one.
How do you do?
Do you think if we got one of his chairs, we'd get more followers? I can't, honestly, John, I can't.
Last week
I can't
asked
watch it.
you
Oh,
to-
God.
Okay, so that is one of the top YouTube earners in the world. That is his entertaining expertise, but it gets better because if you didn't just dislike him because he's incredibly rich for making videos like that,
I do.
He's also a raging racist. So this is where I throw in the trigger warning that I'm pretty relaxed on stuff, but when I heard this video, I actually cringed. So first of all, his first offense, which he apologized for, was I think he dressed as a Nazi for some costume party and then made some offensive remarks about Jewish people. But then you have this, which was he was live streaming a video game he was playing. It is some sort of World War II video game. And you have this.
What a fucking nigger. Jeez, oh my god, what the fuck? Sorry, but what the fuck? What a fucking asshole. I don't mean that in a bad way, Jesus fuck.
I don't mean that in an offensive way. The N-word I just used, I was trying to call the guy an a-hole. And so my use of the N-word was not offensive.
Who's watching this guy's garbage?
Apparently,
kids?
63 million kids. Yeah. So he said that, and then he tried to play it off that because he's actually Swedish or something,
he doesn't know what it means.
Yeah,
or something?
that it's lost in translation.
No, I mean, it's one thing to proffer just garbage content to little kids, but to actually be racist and offensive and geared to little kids, that actually genuinely makes me hate the guy.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
I hated the guy before.
He's hateable.
When he was rich and stupid and had a terrible show, I hated him. But now I really hate him.
That was a genuine use of the N-word with a hard ER, and it was meant with vitriol. That is, put a bow around it, racism right there.
What a douche.
So then, I think the douche continues to Google because Google autocomplete. When I was searching, because I knew he had said this, Google wiped it from YouTube. I had to find it from someone else that's now put back up by other people.
Huh.
But if you search, this was a huge scandal.
Google wiped it from YouTube because this guy's making them a bunch of money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now watch this. If I do...
I mean, he's probably their top grosser, right? It's 63 million?
This is it. If I type in like PewDiePie racist, so first of all, PewDiePie, nothing bad comes up, right? It's all merch, Twitter, net worth, chair, age, Reddit, YouTube channel. And then I start to type racist. No, it's saying I spelled it wrong. Do you want the PewDiePie gaming chair? The PewDiePie gaming PC? And you keep typing it in, and then you get to the S in racist, and Google's like, out of ideas.
Yeah, I don't know what could go after that.
I got nothing.
There's no letter. Wow.
That right there is not a genuine search result, because I guarantee that I am not the first person in history to type PewDiePie racist.
So 2 thoughts. First, I take it you've given up on the Google job that you were pursuing. Second,
yes.
That's kind of messed up. I mean, Google is clearly trying to squelch content that could cost them money.
100%.
Wow.
Yeah, so YouTube stars are a cesspool. Continuing on with the list of people that I don't think are nearly as awful as PewDiePie. They're just, Number 10 on the list is someone called Lily Singh. Lily Singh is...
Do you know much about the business model here? So let's take the dipshit pie or whatever his name is. If he's got 63 million subscribers,
yes,
and he's putting out, one video a day?
I have no idea.
I mean, let's say for the sake of discussion, it's
every few days, every day, probably.
Okay, so let's say he's putting out a couple of weeks, so 100 a year. How many views is each one of those getting? Maybe
millions.
10 million?
Well, let's look at this video, 10 million views. This video, just under 1 million. This video, 6.8 million, 1.5 million. And she's only got 13 million subscribers.
So total views in a year, if you're getting like 100 million.
Hundreds of millions.
Hundreds of millions. How are you monetizing that? I mean, how much are you making per view?
Everyday Bro has over 100 million views.
Okay.
So let's look at how much do you get paid. So it looks like you get about $7.61 per 1,000 ad views.
So if you get 1 million views, you're getting $7,600.
It's saying roughly a video creator will earn $2,000 for every 1 million views.
$2,000 for every 1 million views. Okay, that math doesn't exactly add up, but okay. $2,000 for every million. I guess so. Basically, what these people have to do is just generate a ton of content. You want to build your subscribers and pump as much content out as you can, because every time somebody watches, you're getting money.
Yes.
So it is all quantity. The amazing thing is you have to put out enough content that you're making money, but still manage to make the content watchable, which clearly they're failing at.
The second half is
they're not
where you
doing.
really, really struggle. Yeah. No, it really goes off the rails. I mean, I don't know how long we want to spend on this, but I just find the whole business model tremendously interesting. Let me play a little bit of this person's video for you so you can kind of get an idea of what we're dealing with. This is a video by Lily Singh, and as best I can tell, she appears to be Indian. It's called, This Is My Mom's Morning Routine.
Hello everybody and welcome to my good morning routine YouTube video on internet. Today I'm going to show you how I wake up and become a fit, young, spicy mom. First, I wake up at 6 o'clock on Saturday for no reason. And I'm not bloody useless bum, so I make my bed every single day. No, better. Not yet. That's right. I do brushing teeth. Then I make these noises for minimum 5 minutes.
So I actually laughed a couple times at this video, but I'm also a sucker for good stereotype humor.
I'm just laughing because my brother does that, but for like an hour and a half. It'll be like 10:30 and he's still going, I'm like, you woke up 2 hours ago, dude. Stop it.
I don't know why people make those sounds. I have a buddy that kind of gags himself every time he brushes his teeth. It's disgusting. He's like dry heaving. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on YouTubers. We did that last time. But to round out the list, just because I know you have to know, that was Lily Singh, 10.5 million, coming in at number 10. Ryan's toy review, 11 million, number 8. Jake Paul, number 7, 11.5 million. That's the mule donkey looking Paul. Then you've got PewDiePie, 12 million. And the horsey-looking Paul, number 4, with 12.5 million as well. Dude Perfect, which is like a bunch of frat guys who throw ping pong balls in cups, 14 million, number 3. Evan Fong, 15.5 million, number 2. And the number 1, Daniel Middleton, with $16.5 million. Well, if you didn't feel inadequate before you listen to this podcast, you do now. All right, let's take a quick break right now. And when we come back, I want to ask Conor. Conor, I want to talk to you about your time in politics.
About the mayoral election?
The
congressional?
Cue the music.
Wildcard is brought to you by
Coinbot. Access cryptocurrency pricing and market information right in your Slack or Telegram group. To add Coinbot for free to your group today, please visit coinbot.co. One more quick thing before we get back to the show. If you enjoy any Wildcard episodes, then go ahead and tell a friend. I know it may not seem like it, but this kind of drivel actually takes a lot of time and effort to cut together and to put out. So if you could share it with someone, help us grow. Also, please, 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 go to iTunes, take less than a minute to review the show. Just write up a few quick sentences, submit it. This is how people are going to find the show. Anyway, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, write a review. Now back to the show. Okay, I want to jump in right now to talk a little bit, Conor, a little bit about your political career. We had some big going-ons lately, and it may be very hard for people to wrap their head around, but outside of this show, you actually are or have been kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's generous.
You just had a win, shall we say, in the mayoral. Did I say that right that time?
No, you didn't.
Fuck. What is it?
You were so proud of yourself.
I really was.
You
Say it again.
Like, I think I got it.
Say it again and I'll get it right.
There's no I. It's just may or ol.
Okay. In the mayoral.
Oh, my God.
Mayoral.
Sure.
Fuck.
Sure.
Okay. No, do one more time. I'll get it.
May or ol.
Mayoral.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
That sounded right.
There you go.
Okay.
Just edit out
So
the
you
previous
recently
9
came
takes.
off the mayoral.
Like you learned a new trick.
You just came off the mayoral election.
Just keep saying it. You're getting better.
Where your candidate actually won, London Breed.
Yes.
Who is now the mayor of San Francisco, one of the most influential cities in the world. And it was only a few years ago that you said, hey, there's this person I'm working with. We're running for city supervisor. You guys won, and you ended up becoming her chief of staff. And then now she's the mayor. And this all kind of started with a pretty major upset.
Incumbents don't lose. An incumbent supervisor had never lost in San Francisco. And London decided that she was going to run over the advice of almost all of her friends who told her this is a fool's errand. You can't beat an incumbent. Don't bother. A lot of people just weren't returning her calls. She was running against the machine that had lined up in support of the incumbent, which is often the case when you run against an incumbent. I met her and I just liked her. I told her consistently throughout that campaign in 2012, I was like, I don't think we're going to win, but I like your message. It's fun working with you, and I want to be a part of the ride. And
were you honest when you said you didn't think you were going to win?
Yeah. No, I remember people asking me, and I was like, I think maybe we have like a 15% chance.
Now, fast forward, you won that election.
Yes. I think we were all amazed because she didn't just win; she won by 13 points. I mean, this was unheard of. Incumbents to that point had never lost. The idea that we were going to win, much less win decisively and no on election night, was not something that I had thought was even possible. And so, I mean, I think at the time I thought it was the most the most monumental thing I had been a part of in my career, for sure.
So you guys win in a major upset for city supervisor. And then what happens after the campaign? Are you just guaranteed a job? Do you have to ask London?
If I'm going to be part of this, I should help her. I should work with her and help her succeed and help her get up and running in City Hall. And so I called her up and I explained all this to her. I said, I was thinking about it, and I think it makes a lot of sense for me to go with you and to work with you in City Hall and try to help you succeed. Horribly long silence ensues. Like,
that's uncomfortable.
Like 25 seconds. And I'm like, are we still connected?
Ouch.
And she goes, okay.
Oh, ouch. Ouch.
But long story short, she did ultimately hire me, and I was there for 4.5 years, and it was awesome. And I left about a year ago and went into the private sector, but I've remained very, very involved and try to help as much as I can from the outside. And then in December of 2017, Mayor Ed Lee, who had been in office since 2011, very unexpectedly and tragically passed away. Suddenly just had a heart attack. Always seemed like a very healthy guy, super nice guy. I mean, I didn't work for Mayor Lee, but I worked with him enough to get a sense of the man. And London at the time was president of the Board of Supervisors, and it's sort of like being vice president. When the mayor passes away, the president of the Board of Supervisors becomes the acting mayor. So I was there when that responsibility fell onto London's shoulders, and it was a historic moment, and I sort of thought about that at the time amidst the sadness. But what I noticed at that moment was a seriousness and a sense of, okay, this is on me. This is my responsibility now. And she wore it from that moment on with this incredible strength and dignity. And I mean, I'm biased. She's a friend of mine and I'm a supporter and everything, but it was amazing to see this happen. And you see is this very subtle transformation where all of a sudden she recognized that this was on her, and it was her obligation to bring the city together and to get us through this.
So what happens when she decides to run for mayor? Were you just automatically on the team? Did she call you and ask you to help with that? How did that work?
Basically, I was her chief of staff in City Hall before I left, and sort of the right hand. And I have left now, but have that kind of emeritus title. So no call was needed. I was there from the very first moment.
Does that mean you were like important when you walked around City Hall?
I wouldn't go that far, no.
Did people like cower in your presence?
Only because I'm super jacked.
So let's talk about the actual election, because you were not here for this, and so there better be a damn good excuse.
I like how the most important thing to John is that I show up at 8 a.m. the morning after the mayoral election to film this show, because that is the most important thing going on.
I agree.
I'm using sarcasm.
Not working.
Damn it. So I don't want to bore people too much, but San Francisco has this what's called ranked choice voting, where you actually get to vote for 3 people. So London was up by over 10 percentage points on election night and actually thereafter. But once you transferred those votes from Jane Kim to the other 2 candidates, it was an extremely close race. So
yeah, because I remember seeing the night of the election a number of self-boasting, self-congratulatory Facebook posts by people who worked for London.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like we won the election, but it was definitely like, what a great night, what a fun election, which no one ever says if they lose.
They're losing, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, there's this funny thing in San Francisco politics where you have absentee ballots, vote by mail ballots, which traditionally tend to be more quote-unquote moderate. Then you have the people who vote on the day of, who go to the booth and they're like, I'm voting today. Those tend to be quote-unquote more progressive. London was the more moderate candidate, supposedly.
AKA reasonable.
Whatever. I think the nomenclature is totally wrong. We could do a whole episode on why I think that's stupid.
I don't think we should.
Nobody would care. But the absentee ballots came in and we're up by 10 points. And the most stressful thing about being on the supposedly more moderate side is you have to build up a big enough lead and then watch that get chipped away.
So where are you? Where are you for all of this? Are you?
You're at the election night party.
Election night party. So you've got a party. Is it really uncomfortable? Like when you see Hillary Clinton's like after party, there was like all these pyrotechnics ready to go off, all this funfetti that was supposed to come down. It's like
and the ballroom's empty.
It's like it's really awkward. There's like people milling around, and the guy
band,
with
the band's like, is anyone going to cash this check?
The guy with the giant bags of confetti is like awkwardly shuffling them out of the stage.
It's tough because you generally don't, or you often don't know the night of, and you'll have people who maybe don't understand the nuances that I just went through as well.
Sure.
And so they're jumping up and down because you're up by 2 points, and you're like, if we're only up by 2 points now, we're probably not going to make it over the hump. Or you have people who are super bummed, and you're saying, look, the vote by mail ballots are going to come in, and they're probably going to favor us. I say all this, but full disclosure, I was that asshole on election night.
That's embarrassing.
Because we were up by 10 with the early vote by mail ballots, and all of the same day votes came in, and we were still up by 10. And so I'm thinking, historically, we're supposed to do worse with the same day votes, and we actually held our ground. We did not go down. I'm thinking 100% of the precincts are in. All of the early absentees are in. We're up by 10. This is solid. I don't see how this could go against us. And so I'm the idiot going around like, everybody, let's have a glass of wine. You did such a great job. Hugs. I love you. And the real pros / jaded people are all looking at me like, would you shut the fuck up? And sure enough, about 45 minutes later, the worst news came.
What time is it at this
It's now like 12:30. The party's cleared out.
AM.
Yeah, the party's cleared out. It's just the candidate and the inner circle, and we're all in this back room. And I'm the idiot like, yay, everybody, why don't you guys cheer up? And everybody's looking at their phones and they look stressed. And sure enough, the ranked choice vote results come in.
These are the folks that did the duo.
Yeah, so
vote for anyone. Basically, vote for anyone but Breed.
Pretty much. So when I say we're up by 10 points, we were up by 10 points on the basic vote. But that does not account for what happens when Jane Kim drops out and her votes get allocated. So that happened. That math happened at about 12:30. And it was...
And you didn't like that math.
It was absolutely devastating. We went from being up by 10 points to down by about 1,240 votes. And
10 points is percent?
10%.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was like 10,000 votes at the time.
So when you're up, you said you were as close as 1,100, 1,200 votes out of hundreds of thousands?
At that point, out of about 140,000, 150,000.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I mean, I was...
That's a large room full of people.
Yeah. Oh, and it got closer.
That's a high school gymnasium.
Yeah.
Affecting basically political careers, the future of the city, etc. That's crazy.
A very close race. So somebody had this great post on Twitter a couple days later that was like, I think this is what it feels like to care about sports, because it was this week-long cliffhanger. So election night, we're up by 10. I'm thinking we're going to win. We get this ranked choice result. It's an absolute punch in the stomach. I go home thinking...
At what point that night did you realize you weren't coming in and send me a obnoxious text?
About 1 in the morning, I texted you. And I remember...
Was it because you were depressed or too drunk, or what was the cause?
It was, I don't really do emotion, but it was all of them. I was furious. I was beaten. I felt like we had it, and then it was ripped away. And that was my own fault. I shouldn't have concluded that it was over and gone around and been the guy like, oh, congratulations.
That is pretty mortifying.
That was my own...
So you had some self-shame in there, too.
A ton of self-shame. And I felt bad because I was telling people, like, I think we got it. I don't think the numbers could even change. And then I was wrong. And, all these things that we have worked for so long gets ripped away when you thought you had it. It was devastating. And what happens is they then had about 90,000 votes left to count. So imagine we're at like 140, 150,000 counted. There's 90,000 left to go. So it's still... It was anybody's game.
And what I saw on the news, it's not like those 90,000 are going to be run through a machine like and you get a number.
No.
That's like...
You're opening the envelope. There are
it's
4
a
cards.
physical process.
Yeah, there are 4 cards in the envelope. Each one has to be fed into the machine.
So how many votes are you getting? What are you getting results daily, hourly? What's happening?
So I didn't know that because I hadn't been a part of one of these citywide race that was this close. So day one, at 4 p.m. every day, the Department of Elections releases their vote count for that day. And I think on the first day, since they're just getting set up and they've been up all night the night before, they do a relatively small count. They counted like 6,000 ballots. We improved by 25 votes. So 24 hours after the election, we're down by 1,241, I think, at the time, and it goes down to 1,226. And I'm like, that ain't going to cut it. But after the range of emotions on election night, I told myself, look, go out of town. I went down to Southern California. Go out of town and just find your zen. And so
leave town. Don't show up for your show.
Yeah.
Just leave.
Forget John. Don't respond to his text messages. Just let the votes come out. Try to understand the math and let this process play out. I was like, I can't let myself think that we've lost or that we've won and have it change and go through that again. Just find your zen. So every day at 4 p.m., a new vote count would come out. Wednesday, we got 25 votes. And
what was 350 like for you?
Absolute knots in the stomach every day. And it actually got worse.
How many days? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
There were 8.
8 days.
8 days.
And it got worse every day.
For me, it did.
Worse meaning the feeling, the butterflies got worse or the votes got worse?
The butterflies. I'm not superstitious, knock on wood, but I got real superstitious because you can't change it. But if you don't know, don't you feel like something you do, like turn that light switch off 3 times and maybe you'll get 100 votes? If you don't know, I'm playing all these games like, all right, open the email at 3:50 and we'll get more votes. Okay, don't look away now. So, I mean, because there's nothing you can do. Some reporter had this really good line. He said, the outcome is already decided. We just haven't learned it yet. And that actually put my mind at ease a little bit. It was like, you turning the light switch is not going to change this. But still, if you don't know, you don't know. And so I'm down in San Diego, and what I would do is I would set my phone down and I would just wait to see the text messages come in at 4 p.m. And my phone is ancient and a piece of crap. And so 50 text messages would be coming in at once, and the phone would like, smoke would come out of its ears and it would freeze. But I would see whatever like the first text was. And on Thursday, all it was from my cousin who was very involved with the campaign, and it's in all caps, holy fuck. And I'm like, I think that's good. And turned out we picked up 866 votes. So wow. Thursday was I'm jumping up and down and doing high kicks. I don't know if you've seen my high kick, but it's super athletic. We narrowed the gap to, God, at that point, I think we were like 400 and change. Saturday, we actually went into the lead very narrowly. And I won't bore you with too much of the details, but there's a group of ballots called provisional ballots. Those ballots tend to skew very sharply towards the more quote-unquote progressive candidates. So we knew that not only did we have to get back into the lead, we had to put together a big enough lead to withstand those 14,000 provisionals, which were going to come last. So the whole time we're thinking we probably have to get to being up by 2,000 in order to feel safe with those provisionals. So Saturday we ended up by a little. Sunday was the big day. Sunday we picked up like 900, 1,100 or something.
At what point were you secure enough to actually jump up and down and be like, boom, we're done. We won.
Not until our opponent conceded. For me, because of what I went through on election night, my buddy would text me every day when the vote came in, and towards Monday and Tuesday when it was becoming pretty clear, he would be like, "Can I say it yet?" And I would go, "Not yet." He meant, "Can I say, congratulations?" "Not yet, not yet." And it wasn't until Senator Leno conceded, he texted me and he's like, "How about now?" And I said, "Okay, now." I couldn't go through it again. I had to wait until I knew. This was me personally. I had to wait until I knew that it was over. And I'll tell you, as hard as it was for us, we were trending in the right direction. I really genuinely do have a lot of sympathy for the Mark Leno campaign because they're watching it chip away. And every day they're thinking, my God, just hold, please don't chip away.
I couldn't do this.
It's brutal.
I could understand how in sports, they gave the sports analogy, but in sports, there's anticipation, and then the game is an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours tops for sporting events. That I can deal with.
Yeah.
A week of anticipation. It's like the doctor calling you after a physical saying, "We got your cancer screening back. We'd like you to come into the office. I actually don't have anything this month.
Yeah.
But you have something next month."
Sorry, I got to run. Maybe I can call you tomorrow at 4:00 and we'll talk for another 30 seconds. It was absolutely brutal.
You are constantly, no matter how good a job you do, A, half the people hate you. And B, you have to constantly reapply for your job.
Yeah.
I would hate that.
It's tough. So my brother got very involved with this election. He's never been involved with politics before. And he was like, I don't know how you guys do this. Like, how do normal people do that? How do you go through this much stress and this protracted uncertainty? And I'm like, you're not normal. You cannot be a normal person in this business. It's brutal. And it ended up that even with the provisionals, we actually picked up votes on the provisional. And that's why London Breed is now the new mayor of San Francisco.
The guy that woo voted for her.
I appreciate that guy who wooed.
I know you're tight on time. I have one more question, which is, what awesome thing do you get to do now that you guys won? Do you get to park in red zones? Do you get to run red lights, sleep in firehouses? There's got to be some sort of swag that you win.
So I asked you before the show to pull up my brother's Facebook account.
Okay.
Because I told London last night, I only want one thing, and that is to do a duet with Mayor-elect London Breed of karaoke Bust a Move.
Is that this? On that note, we thank you for listening to another episode of Wildcard. We have learned many, many things today. More about the YouTube generation. We have learned why IPAs are terrible, that if you're going to order pizza and you're blind and you're looking for a little action, you order it from Big Sausage Pizza. That's another episode of Wildcard. We'll be back with you soon.
Thanks for listening to Wildcard. See live podcasts and pics from the show on Instagram and Facebook, or visit us online at wildcardshow.com.